Narrating.
Hey guys, we're back. This is Fallstreak. Target has been located. Pursuit squad is driving them towards the designated capture coordinates. All auxiliary teams are moving in to surround and contain. Something wrong, Cordero? I don't like it. It's going too smoothly. An invisible itch that could not be scratched. Years of experience had taught me to heed that itch. Pursuit squad to command. We've lost visual of the target. Over. All units fall back. Regroup and fall back now. At that moment, the sound of screams and clashing steel rings out. Report, what's your status? Can you see what's going on? Captain Seymour peers through his binoculars. I can't tell. The entire area is covered in mist. Dang it, why now of all times? The screams were dying off. Before long, it falls completely silent. Let's move up. We can't leave them. Seymour's body jerks back out of my line of sight. When I turn around, I find him splayed over the ground several meters away with something sticking out of his neck. Hey, hey! Stay with me! Both in seconds, he stops moving. The knife had plunged into him with such force it had severed his spinal cord. It was as if he had gotten hit by a cannon. Who in the world is this person? I was all alone now. The sound of falling rain was all that could be heard. No, that's wrong. Footsteps. Slow and deliberate footsteps, heading in my direction. From within the mist, a figure begins to materialize. Minolest's master, the Phantom. At long last, they show themselves. No, this can't be. My blood runs cold. Amine? Her clothes were drenched in blood, her face expressionless. But even then, it could not mask the madness seeping from her form. Slowly. 1 step, 2. She walks towards me. I stagger back under the crushing pressure, but when I do, the world turns upside down. Pain. Pain unlike any I had ever experienced. Its burning tendrils lance through my side and constrict my entire body. Staggering to my feet, I try to orient myself, but no matter where I looked, mist was all that could be seen. Run. Run away, Father. I need to get away. Clutching at my injury, I take off into the mist. I need to get away. Footsteps. The sound of footsteps behind me, in front of me, inside me, everywhere. An endless labyrinth. An endless dream, nightmare, curse. I had no idea where I was. All I knew was that the strength was slowly bleeding out of me. I didn't have much time left. Amine, why? The sound of footsteps, ringing through the mist, ringing through my skull. It burrows into my brain, gnawing away. Exhausted, I crashed to the ground. My legs weren't listening to me anymore. I had reached my limit. Ha. The sound of footsteps had stopped. The mist, gone. Nothing remained but the sound of rain. I dragged myself to a nearby wall. Resting my back against a cold stone, I gaze up at the sky. Ha. My eyes fall shut. At that moment, I knew. My time had come. When I open my eyes, I find a dark figure standing over me. Amine. Something cold slides into my chest. It hurt. It hurt a lot. Her face was right before me now. As if to substitute for absent tears, rain streams down her features. But what I couldn't take my eyes off was how pained she looked, as if she had been the one that was stabbed. I see. I cough weakly as something warm flows from deep within. I'm sorry, Amine. I made the same mistake that I made with my dearest beloved. The warmth dribbles down my cheek. It falls to the ground below. I thought I understood you, but the truth was, I didn't understand a thing. I'm sorry. Why? Why are you apologizing? Because my beloved daughter's been suffering for all this time, and I never even noticed. Father, please promise me something, Amine. Promise me that you'll reach out to someone. Reach out to your family who loves you dearly. Don't make the same mistake that my wife did. Don't try to bear everything on your own. The world was so blurry. As if to cling onto it, I stretch out weakly. So dark, so cold. It scared me, how I couldn't see anything anymore. But then, at that moment, something takes hold of my quaking hand and gently steadies it. Her touch. It was so warm. I smile at the comfort it brings me. I'm coming to join you now. My dear Louise. The world fades to black, and I sink into a deep slumber. Drip drop, the sound of blood. It seeps into my fingers. It wets my steps. Why? I was running. Away from something, or after something. I didn't know. Why? A vision of spreading red. Red that blossomed out from beneath Cordero's lifeless body. Red that swallowed Mallory as flames engulfed and consumed her. Red that gouged into Alouette's eyes as she tended to Lynette and Dia's corpses. My head was buzzing again. The buzzing won't stop. Ha, ha. A certain beat-up building. Mallory and I had once called this place home in the past. Throwing open the front door, I tumble inside. A puddle of cold water accumulates under me as I sprawl onto the ground. Tiny dots. As if to reject the sudden halt in movement, they swim through my vision erratically. Ha, Dragging myself through the darkness, I grope around blindly. Eventually, I come across a bucket full of water. I plunge my hands into it. I had to wash the blood off them. You'll never be able to wash it off. A yawning abyss. It whispers to me. It swallows me up. Come off. Come off. Come off. Over and over again. Until my hands are tender, until my hands are raw, I scrub. But no matter how much I scour them, they remain stained, the same sickly dark hue. My fingers felt like they were encrusted in the sticky substance, preventing them from moving freely. Go away! Go away! Go away! My skin was going to tear at this rate, but I don't relent. Why? Why can't I wash it away? I peer into the bucket. However, what lay inside was not water. What lay inside was... I knock the bucket away. As it rolls to a stop, glowing shades of liquid red stream to spread from its fallen form, staining the darkness. My hands were coated in the writhing red. It was consuming me. It was consuming all I held dear. I'm sorry. You're not human. I'm sorry. You're a monster. Someone like you should just die. My father was always a hard-to-understand man. Atun's voice quakes as he stands before the room of mourners. On the surface, he was always laughing, but at times his face would suddenly grow dark and solemn, and I wouldn't know what he was thinking. Whenever that happened, I would always get the urge to ask him what was on his mind, but my voice would never come out. I always ended up just staying silent. Why is that, I wonder? He grips the podium with such intensity the wood creaks. He was a man that didn't talk about himself a lot. Even though I'm his son, there's so much I don't know about him. I think that's why he was always laughing, so that when people passed him by, they'd smile and shake their heads thinking, what a fool. His laughing face was a mask that hid his true self. I think I might have been afraid of what lay behind that mask. Afraid of the weight he carried inside him. I don't remember anything about my mother, you see. She died when I was very young, but whenever we visited her gravestone, it felt like he became a different person. a person chained by the regrets of the past. Autun takes a deep breath. Maybe that's why he threw himself into his work so much. He was the first person to notice something strange about the disappearances surrounding Minilust. My father believed that someone was behind the disappearances, that someone was killing the people of Sockatrine. Even when people doubted his claims, he persisted. It was his duty to protect the people, after all. Eventually, it came to light that he was correct, and he formed a team to catch the killer. But that's when Autun's voice cracked. Tears began to drip onto the podium before him. Unable to speak any longer, Autun bites his lips and lowers his head. For a long time, he simply stood there, trembling. It was difficult to watch. Autun. At that moment, someone stands. Lord Cecil Cottard, the reigning sovereign of Doctrine, but also a childhood friend of Autun's. Your father was an honorable man who laid his life on the line for Sockatrine. The missed killings and all the murders leading up to it. No matter how much of a demon they may be to have slain so many, together we will find the perpetrator and have them answer for their crimes. You have my blade and the blades of the lost children. Another person stands, Autun, Belisaria Pharaoh, the heiress of the influential old aristocracy house of Pharaoh. She was another childhood friend of Autun's, another friend of mine. Know that your father always had your best interests at heart. Even when you were little, he would always scrape the bottom of his wallet to buy materials so you could pursue your passion. You are not alone in your grieving. Many families that have also lost loved ones mourn alongside you. The Phantom of Minilust will not go unpunished. You have the House of Pharaoh's unwavering support. One by one, people rise to their feet, sharing their strength and solidarity with Autun. That fiend won't get away with this. We will show them no mercy. We will not rest until Cordero has been avenged. The streets are not safe until that killer has been caught. Before long, the entire room was standing. Allies of the Larah family who had all come to mourn the loss of someone dearly beloved to them. Thank you, everyone. Together we'll find who did this, and we'll bring them to justice. I see. This feeling of being crushed from all sides. This must have been how Mallory felt on that day as she faced the crowd. Cursed by everyone, forsaken by all. It was like the entire world was against me. But that was only natural, because I'm a monster after all. The sound of falling rain. Though silent, it helps drown out the buzzing. I remember. I had once dreamed of seeing a world full of color. In a way, my wish had indeed come true. A twisted, tainted hue. The red illusion. There was no longer anything that could escape it. Kalia, Triss, Autun, Alouette. Not even they were safe. I wanted to carve them open, just like I had with Cordero. A maddening desire to gouge and rend, to kill and gorge. It wells up from deep inside me, causing my hands to tremble. As if I'd allow such a thing. All I need to think about is how to prevent harm from befalling them. If there's something that threatens them, it must be eliminated. Therefore, if I am a threat to them, I simply have to eliminate myself. Having arrived at that conclusion, my feet led me to a certain place. Heaven's Fall, a bridge where the lost and weary yielded their lives in Evahet. What are you thinking? You followed me. For me to not notice, it was proof of my mind's deterioration. Why? Why? I gazed down at the rapidly flowing water. I didn't want to look at him. You don't have to do this. You don't have to bear everything all alone. Why? Why do you always try to bear the weight all alone? Please. Lean on me. Let me help. Please promise me something, Amine. Promise me that you'll reach out to someone. Reach out to your family who loves you dearly. I'm lost. Lost in a sea of uncertainty. But maybe, just maybe. I step back from the edge. Amine! Autun rushes forward and wraps me in his embrace. He was shaking. Don't scare me like that. The thought of losing you so soon after losing Father. I wouldn't be able to bear it. I have to tell him. Stealing my heart, I pull away from him, but unable to meet his gaze, I stare into the dark water below. Autun, yes? The words wouldn't come, though. They stick in my throat, a clump of hot and heavy air. What is it, Am? I was terrified, so terrified I couldn't stop shaking. Please, you can tell me anything. I know who the Phantom of Minilust is. The air around him changes. What? You know who did it? You know who killed Father? It was as if he had become a different person. If you know anything, please tell me. We need every clue we can get. No, Autun, wait. I see. So, that's what it was. I was only thinking about myself. Father's death must have affected you so much as well. It's only natural. I'm afraid, too, anyone would be. The Phantom slew dozens in cold blood, after all. Someone like that isn't human. His words cut into me like a sharp blade. They gouged my insides out and spilled them across the cold ground. It's okay if you're not sure about it. Every bit of information helps. The investigation's been cold for so long, after all. Yes, with this, maybe we'll finally be able to find them and make them pay. It was the same. His face. His face was the same as theirs. I'll kill them. Kill her! I'll make sure they burn in hell for what they've done. Burn her! It was the same face that the crowd wore on that day at that time. Only then will Father be able to rest in peace. Only when that monster is dead. It was too much. I couldn't bear it anymore. I stepped back. I wanted to run away. Wait! Autun grabs my arm. Let go. Please! You know something, don't you? Tell me. Too hard. What? You're holding too hard. But that only causes him to tighten his grip. What's wrong with you? I don't get it. I don't understand. Why won't you tell me? He reaches out with his other hand. Burn the witch! Ugh. Kill him. Autun was below me now, his pale, defenseless throat. It was right before me. Tear him apart. My body moves. I watch on as my fingers wrap around his neck. He's the same. Same as those who murdered Mallory. All I had to do was tighten, to press down and squeeze. It would take nothing at all to wring the life out of him. But despite that, Autun doesn't struggle. Without a hint of resistance, he gazes into my eyes. Why? Why aren't you resisting? Because. The one that's really hurting isn't me, is it? The one that's truly hurting is you. Reaching out slowly, he brushes my hair to the side. You're crying so much after all. The clear raindrops drip down onto his face from above. The tension in my hands melts away. I rise to my feet. Don't follow. I turn my back on him and take off into the rain. Amine! His voice rings out behind me, but I don't stop. I was a fool. A fool to think I had any allies in the world, because I'm not human. I'm a monster. Overhead, the rain had begun to intensify. Facing the sky above, I watch on as the falling rain transforms into curtains of writhing scarlet. I wanted to deny that dripping red with all my soul, but the hopelessness binding me swallows up any attempt I make to cry out. It was like trying to scream underwater. The deluge simply rushes down my throat, muffling all attempts to voice myself. It was a struggle to even breathe. I shut my eyes as the red illusion slowly consumes everything in sight. I couldn't contain it anymore. My desire to kill, my desire to eat, it was overflowing. So much that the very next person I met. At that moment, an impossible silence descends upon the world. The sound of rain had disappeared. In its place, one sound alone rang out. Footsteps. Little ones. Like those of a child. I opened my eyes blankly. A small figure was heading down the path in my direction. It was someone I recognized, someone I was very familiar with. Oh, it's Mommy! No. My body begins to move of its own accord. No, run! Run, Kalia! Ha 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 ha! What? What just happened? Cold water was dripping down my face. Sorry, Mommy, I couldn't resist after seeing how drenched you already were. Whee! Making use of her rain boots, Kalia vaults over a puddle. When she comes down, water sprays everywhere, including on us. I watch on in a stupor as Kalia dances through the puddles. There was a strange magnetism in the way she completely absorbed herself in the act. It stirs something in me. Huh? My body moves on its own. I plunge into a nearby puddle, sending geysers of water through the air. Geysers? Geysers? Haha. At first, Kalia seems surprised, but then she laughs and her feet join mine. Together, the two of us dance under the rain, punctuating the air with a symphony of splashing that crashes lyrically against the pattern of raindrops. Dissonant, yet so harmonious. It was a strange feeling like that. Ha ha! Ha ha! The sound of Kalia's laughter, it drowns out the buzzing in my head, wipes clear the red lingering at the edge of my vision. It was nonsensical, foolish even, but even then, deep in my heart, I found myself wishing this moment could last forever. Phew, I'm soaked. Indeed. The two of us were sopping wet now. We're really dumb, aren't we? Why'd we do that? But though she says that, there was a big grin on her face. Can you make soup when we get home, Mommy? Kalia begins to walk. My feet naturally bring me to her side. It was a well-ingrained habit of mine. Most parents hold onto their children's hand to keep track of them. But since Kalia had no hands to hold, I had always been careful to match her pace as she grew. Soup again? We had soup last night already. But I want to eat soup! 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 Animal crackers in my soup. Yeah, songs. Kalia sways and bobs as she walks by my side. She seemed to be in a good mood. She was just a child, but maybe... Oops, I missed whatever that said. Oops. Kalia. Yes, Mommy? Have you ever thought that I'm abnormal? Different from other people? Kalia tilts her head quizzically. Could it be you're self-conscious about the scar on your tummy? I think you need to grow up, Mommy. That's nothing compared to the burn marks on my face. This little brat. Wah! A little more water won't make any difference anyways. I don't know why I bother asking this little runt. Whew, Mommy's pouting, haha. I get to see so many new faces from you today, Mommy. Hey, Mommy? What now? Thanks. I can't remember the last time you played like this. It was really, really fun. Turning to look at me, she grins widely. Her smile, so clear and colorful. It hurt to look at. Unable to bear it, I avert my gaze. Mommy? Her voice sounded different. Mommy? She had been so bright and cheerful moments ago, but now she looked like a lost child. What's wrong? You love me, right? Me and Daddy and Triss. You love us, right? Of course. You know that. Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. Kalia laughs, but it wasn't like her usual laughter. It was an anxious, uneasy laugh. I guess I just want to hear you say it sometimes. I don't know, is that weird? Maybe I'm being too needy? Mommy, earlier when we were playing in the puddles, you were smiling and it made me really happy, but it also made me really sad, because it made me think about the time I last saw you smile, and I couldn't remember. Kalia. Her lips trembling faintly, she stops and lowers her head. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. But sometimes I get scared. I get scared that you'll go someplace far away. Big wet tears. They gather in her eyes and meld with the rain streaming down her face. I wanted to reach out and wipe them away, but I couldn't, because even now lingering visions of the red illusion were binding my hands. You won't leave us, right? I was torn. She wanted me to stay by her side, but So long as I drew breath, she was not safe. Mommy, please tell me. You won't leave us, right? I couldn't answer. It felt like my chest was being squeezed dry. It felt like the world was collapsing in on me. It was so dark. It was so cold. At that moment, a light impact strikes my side.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for this episode, so stay tuned for the next episode.
Thanks for watching!